What is going on, guys? Welcome to Greggles TV. I put a Ask Me Anything about the OnePlus 8 Pro. Asked you guys to give me some questions. You guys did, so let's jump into them. The first one comes from Carlos Rangel, who says, how did the curved edges compare to the 7 Pro? I wasn't a fan of how rounded they were. Now, to be fair, I didn't really have a lot of time with the OnePlus 7 Pro, so I don't really remember how the display was. But with that said, I'll be honest with you, I don't like the rounded corners on here, the edges on here. It brings me back to the Galaxy phones from a year or two ago, and I don't really like it. I like the flat display for sure better. It's just feelingly, is that a word, feelingly? It feels just more comfortable in your hand. I mean, it makes this easier to hold because it makes it feel thinner. But overall, I definitely prefer a flatter display. The Galaxy S20 Ultra has a little bit of a more flatter display versus this year versus some previous years. And then the iPhone 11s also have an even flatter display than those phones. So if I had to choose, I'd choose a flatter display just because, I don't know, I don't love the way it looks. And sometimes you accidentally hit the corners and I don't know, it's not the best experience. Cramdins 1967 asks, what is your preference, center camera hole punch or corner camera hole punch? I'll be honest with you, neither of them really bother me at this point. They both don't really get in the way in terms of the viewing experience of videos or gaming or using websites or social media or really any other app that I've personally noticed. If I had to choose though, I actually didn't think I would prefer it, but I do prefer it being in the top left-hand corner like the OnePlus 8 Pro is. I feel like it hides a little bit more than normal versus it being smack dab in the middle. But when you think about selfies and things like that, when you're taking a selfie photo, you'd probably want it to be centered. So at that point, if I'm watching videos or something, again, it doesn't really bother me, but I'd probably choose it in the top left. But with selfie camera and taking photos, I would choose it in the middle. Kimmy B asked, what is the battery life at 120 Hertz and are the cameras as good as the Ultra? So at 120 Hertz, 2K plus resolution with the OnePlus 8 Pro, I'm getting anywhere between 5 and 6 hours. Now, what I've noticed with Android phones is as time goes on personally, that number slightly goes down for whatever reason. Maybe the phones just get a little bloated or they just not optimized well, whatever the reason is. It seems to go down maybe an hour or so, sometimes an hour and a half over time. But regardless, it's decent battery life, especially with what it's doing. 120 Hertz at 2K plus is crazy. So I've been happy with the battery life really at that point, so I wouldn't complain about it. To answer your other questions, the cameras, I did a little, test against the Galaxy S20 Ultra, and I think it held up. I think in some instances it looked better, in some instances it looked worse. One thing that turns me off a little bit is that the front camera is limited to 1080p video. Almost every other flagship phone, you could do 4K 30 or even 4K 60 at that point. Now the back cameras can do all that. They can do 4K 60, they have the wide angle, they have everything. You can do pretty much everything. But again, even though it's limited to 1080p, it still looks really good. And the other thing is the microphones are amazing on this phone. They're much better when they record the audio of your videos on the OnePlus 8 Pro versus the S20 Ultra. Sarath Kumar says, I heard news about the display issue in the OnePlus 8 Pro. Problem is green tint on the display. Have any display problems with the OnePlus 8 Pro? Please find intel. I personally haven't had the green tint issue, at least that I've noticed. So I'm gonna say no to that. And I know it's not, at least I didn't think it was everybody had it. I personally didn't notice it with mine. And so the display itself though, I've been very happy with the quality and the resolution and the performance of it. I Am Xavier says, what are the folder options on the default launcher? Can the first app in the folder be used to represent the folder like in Nova Launcher? Not completely sure what you mean by that. When you create a folder like I have here, it shows 4 apps at a time. Now, if I want to change this a little bit and go into home screen settings, there's not a lot of stuff in here in terms of what it can do. I know you're asking about folders, but let me see if I see anything. I can hide the labels, launcher layout, which is just going to be home screens or home screen and app drawer. So I don't see a way to pick a specific app to be the one that shows as the folder on here. So you're probably gonna wanna stick with Nova. And Peterson asks, are you using this on AT&T? If so, how is it working? Would you buy the Note 10 Plus or the OnePlus 8 Pro? So yes, I use this on AT&T, but I'll be honest with you, I was switching back and forth to the Galaxy S20 Ultra on a daily basis. So for me, and I'll answer that, the reason why, in the last question, really, because I think that will sum some things up. But yeah, the performance of this is very similar. Sometimes it's a little less than the S20 Ultra. So I broke this down a little bit. I took a quick speed test on Wi-Fi. I know you asked about AT&T, but on Wi-Fi, the S20 Ultra scored 167 download speed and 4 upload speed. With the OnePlus 8 Pro, it got 154 down and 5 up. So the upload speed was a little bit faster, but the download speed was a little bit slower. As for the LTE speeds, the Galaxy S20 Ultra had a 311 download and 25 upload. As for the LTE speed on the OnePlus 8 Pro, 216 down and 25 up. So it seems like the upload speeds on the OnePlus 8 Pro and the Galaxy S20 Ultra are fairly similar, but the download speeds seem to be slightly faster on the Galaxy S20 Ultra. Paul Freya says, does the unit get very hot while playing? I'm assuming you're asking me, does it get hot while gaming? I'll be honest with you, I almost never game on my phone, so I didn't, but just in day-to-day usage, I didn't notice any overheating or heating to this, getting hot at all. So I'll say no, but again, I don't really game on my phone, so hopefully that answers your question indirectly. Home of Awesome Video says, does OnePlus 8 Pro have direct external mic audio recording option capability in its inbuilt camera while recording video? It's required for vlogging. Please kindly check it and reply. No, it doesn't. I'll tell you a short answer, and I'll also show you a little video to show you that it doesn't. Before I do that, I'll tell you the setup. I plugged in a USB-C dongle, which had USB-C plugged in, and then a headphone jack into the other. And then I plugged a microphone into that, which I know works with my S20 Ultra. I tried it with this, and it doesn't work. I'll show you real quick. Okay, so I have a lavalier microphone, and I have it plugged in directly to a USB-C to headphone jack adapter, which is actually the Samsung version of it, directly into the OnePlus 8 Pro. I'm gonna play with the microphone right here, tap it. If you can hear that, then the microphone definitely works. So let's try. And then lastly, a lot of you guys were asking me which phone I prefer and which phone will I use as my daily phone, OnePlus 8 Pro or the Galaxy S20 Ultra. Now, I did a comparison video between these two phones, and to be honest with you, before I give my final answer, if someone was looking to purchase this phone or this phone, I personally, and I'm kind of answering it even though I said I wasn't gonna, I personally prefer the Galaxy S20 Ultra, but I think for everybody else, I don't think this phone is $500 or $600 better than this version of the phone. I just don't think it is. This phone is better in some ways, and then this phone is better in some ways. But to me, overall experience, I prefer the look and feel of the software experience, day-to-day usage on the S20 Ultra. I don't know, it's just the way it looks, the way it feels. I don't know, it's just a preference thing. The cameras, they are hit or miss on both. You know, this obviously has an autofocusing issue at times, or a lot of the time, with the back camera. This one doesn't really have that problem. This says 4K 60, this says 1080p on the front camera, and I like to record videos and things, vlogs and other things with the front camera. So to me, I would want this one. Speakers and charging and all that stuff are quite similar on both of these devices. You're not gonna be like, oh, that one's way, way better. I mean, I felt like this one does have better speakers, but then, you know, potentially this one can charge a little bit faster. This one has a little bit better battery life, being the S20 Ultra. They're just so close in a lot of ways, or if one is better than the other, it's like not massively, massively better, it's just like slightly better. So that's why I say if, you know, you're looking to get one of these phones, you know, like I said, this isn't $400, $500, $600 better than the OnePlus 8 Pro. So I'd tell you to get this one probably, but if you're a Samsung fan, you probably won't like this just based off the feel of it, or maybe you will, I don't know. It's really a preference thing at that point. But I think both phones are really, really good. But for me and my money, I just like the Samsung experience a little bit better. It just feels a little bit more at home for me, and the performances are, both phones are very, very similar too. So at that point, I would choose this one. Plus, I already paid for it. So it's not like I just bought both these and I'm like, damn, do I want to save 600 or that? So yeah, there you guys go. Thanks for watching. Let me know which phone you would choose in the comments down below and why, and I'll see you down the road. Peace.